Hi everyone, this is Charles McNeely from DevDoc Theater, and I am honored, and it's such a pleasure and a privilege to be here in the home of Mr. Ronnie Benoit from, I guess, Iowa. Is that where we are? North Iowa, Louisiana. And I'm here to learn more about Mr. Ronnie's Hurricane Audrey story. So, Ronnie, thank you very much for having me here. And can you, to begin with, let's kind of frame what we're going to be talking about on June 27th, 1957. How old were you for that?
I was 6.5 years old.
6.5. How many people were with you, like the day before or the day of Audrey?
The day of Audrey was 12.
12 of you, all family members?
Right.
Ranging from cousins to aunts?
Grandmother.
Grandmother, she was the oldest?
Right.
What part of Cameron Parish did you live?
On West Creole Highway, approximately 7 miles from Creole and about 6 miles from Cameron.
So when you think about life before Audrey, what sticks out in your mind?
We was in hog heaven, if you want to excuse the expression. The whole neighborhood was all kinfolks. Daddy had one old cow, one old milk cow and that, and go to school, come back in the afternoon, play, and go to my grandparents' house. And we had to dodge the cow, though. My daddy had a cow that we had to dodge.
The cow knew you were scared?
That's it. She'd chase us.
Yes.
And but other than that, I mean, like I say, it's just, we had fruit trees, fig trees, pecan trees. I mean, it was a big old pecan orchard my grandfather had.
That's wonderful. I think you went to Creole High School, right?
Yes, sir.
But that was, first grade to 12th grade.
Yep.
So when you think about like the day before Audrey hit, what do you remember about that?
Beautiful day. Temperature wasn't that bad. Wind wasn't blowing. My mother and them were canning figs. I had an aunt from Creole that come with her family. They helped can figs. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure if anything went on, my grandmother was there too. Because that was a big family affair, everybody get together in a big old black pot, cook the figs and that, and put the figs up. And after that was over with, by that time there, my grandmother and her 2 grandchildren, and then my aunt and her 4 children had showed up to stay at the house because of the storm. That's basically it.
Okay.
Woke up the next morning, weather was blowing, raining like crazy. I can remember a car coming to the house, but I can't say who it was. I remember Daddy going to talk to somebody, and then I think what it was discussing evacuation. Well, we had too many people to evacuate. I only had 1 car. We're going to ride this thing out because, that's the thing about it. They had never seen anything like this either.
Right.
They had never, experienced any little storms they had. They had storms, but nothing like this. In fact, they didn't know because we didn't have a TV. All you had was radio. Weather reports back then were next to nothing. So we didn't know what was coming up. All we knew they had a storm in the Gulf. So we went to bed that night, calm, everything was calm, and woke up next morning, it rained like crazy. I remember it being kind of dark. We ate breakfast, and then it lightened up, and then you could see water coming from the south, kind of like when it rains a lot.
It wasn't too deep. It wasn't a wave.
Right. It was just coming there, and then that was that first thing, and then it come a wave. It come about, I'd say about 3 or 4 foot of water. You could see it come like fog coming across, and it got to the road, and all the houses on the south side of the road started floating.
Towards y'all?
No, to the northwest.
Okay.
They missed us.
Thank goodness.
Yep. The wind was blowing real hard from that direction. The water got to the blacktop, and it started peeling the blacktop off, and then started spilling over the road. Well, then you started getting water in the yard. We started feeling the house move, and I got a cousin that said, "Man, you can feel it go off the blocks and off on the blocks, And by that time, there, Daddy opened the back door and let some water in. And
why did he do that?
That was make the house
to let the
settle.
House settle.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Then the water just kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper outside. It wasn't getting too much deeper in the house because it was coming in, but it wasn't coming in like it was outside. I can remember seeing my brother and them sitting on the bed, and the bed started floating. So then we decided, well, it's time to get up in the attic. So by the time Daddy got everybody up in the attic, the house was
So your dad got your grandmother and everybody up there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So when Daddy was the last one to get up there, when he got up there, that was, it was time. And then it really got bad then. The water started, the water was high. The waves were big enough to where they broke the eave of the house. They broke the peeled it off. It wasn't a boxed in eave. It was just a regular eave with 2x6s sticking out. It broke that, and you can see sparks coming off the shingles.
So the shingle, the rocks on the shingles were sparking.
Right. That's how hard the wind was blowing.
Yes.
And then naturally some of the spray got in there and got us kind of soaking wet. We had bought some blankets up there, but they got all wet. And so we kind of huddled up in a little pile, and then it just kept getting worse and worse. And Daddy figured, well, it's time to do something. So we knocked a hole in the attic, in the roof rather, so in case we had to get out. And he also knocked out the gable vent on the end of the house. And you can take that thing, swing it out and look out there, and you can see water, and then you had a pear tree there. You see the pear tree, then you couldn't see the pear tree, And then all settled back down, and then after a while, we could feel it, the ceiling, moving a little bit. Now you figured, something ain't good, so everybody really got nervous then.
Yes.
But we'd look outside, and like I say, it's a strange thing to look out there, nothing but water.
Nothing but water.
Nothing but water. Nothing but water. And, where land was before. It looked like forever, for those storms to blow over. But I think, I can't remember, but I think when the weather calmed down, it might have been even when the eye passed, I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember my daddy getting down there and getting some stuff for us to eat.
Some canned goods.
Yeah, some canned goods. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So anything was in it, and then when storm was completely over with, we got down, and then they had a jar of figs and some. He didn't eat them spaghetti. I don't know if it's Chef Boyardee, whatever, but it's kind of what I remember, like Chef Boyardee or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we ate that cold, and then by that time there, people started showing up to pick us up, to help rescue us.
Okay.
And I remember carrying my little brother and carried me to the road.
Okay.
I could have probably made it, but they carried me, and I was happy they did.
Yes.
Step on a nail or something like that. But anyhow, we got to the road, and then we walked probably about I'd say about 150 yards, 200 yards. We got in a boat, everybody except Daddy. All I know is Daddy stayed behind. I don't know if anybody else did, I can't remember.
Okay.
But we got in a boat, and I was in a boat, my grandma was in a boat, my mama was in a boat, my little brother was in a boat, and they brought us back to the lake. I'm pretty sure it was the lake. Everything was full of water, so it's kind of hard to tell where you was at. But we got on a boat owned by Superior Oil Company, a crew boat.
Okay.
The two guys on the boat, I didn't know who they were, but later on I learned that one of them was going to be my future brother-in-law's uncle, and another guy named Stanley Bowe that worked for Superior.
And who was the first man that became your brother-in-law's uncle? Who was that?
Shammy Roberts. So anyhow, the crew boat brought us to Cameron. We got on a bigger boat, and people started coming in. We're sitting on a bigger boat, just loaded down with people. Well, we took off, go to Lake Charles, get to the port, and then my uncle or somebody in the family, I'm saying my uncle,
Right.
I don't remember, but somebody in the family picked us up and brought us to my uncle's house.
Who was your uncle there?
Les Saint Primo.
I'm sorry?
Les Saint?
Les Saint Primo.
Yeah,
Okay.
he lived in Lake Charles.
Okay.
And pretty much everybody in the family went there. We stayed there, probably 2 or 3 weeks after the storm.
Okay.
But while we were there, they found we found out that my aunt, my cousin, and my second cousin that had been at the house the day before the storm had drowned. And then my cousin, called her Pistache, she was all cut up because she'd gotten, trying to get in a tree, to save herself.
Okay.
And I mean, she was all.
She was okay?
Yes, she was okay, but she was all cut up,
Okay.
scratches and stuff. And so we stayed there for about another 2 weeks, we moved to Carlos. And then as soon as things got settled down at the house in Cameron, Daddy and them got somebody to come put the house back on the blocks and that, and then my uncle and them got together. They all were good carpenters. My uncle and his daddy, my daddy, and a few other people there. They fixed the house up to where it was livable.
Okay.
Didn't have no walls in it, but it was livable.
Yes.
So when they got water and everything all hooked up, we all moved back down there, put blankets across the door, the walls, so we have privacy. But my grandmother and grandfather stayed with us. Uncle Assan's daddy stayed with us. Cousins stayed with us because they would help, search for bodies and stuff.
Yes.
Finished the house, started working on my grandfather's house. And, that's how the neighborhood got rebuilt. Once we got moved in there, they had schools set up. So we were able to go to school. We went to the Masonic Lodge in Cameron.
In Cameron. Right.
Second, third, and fourth grade, and maybe the fifth, I don't know.
Okay.
went to the Masonic Lodge, and then they had another building, I believe it was American Legion. It was a junior high.
Okay.
And the high school kids all went to Grand Lake. That's basically it.
Well, it was getting back to normal. It
Yes,
was, slowly
but surely.
with the strength and with the skill of people being able to rebuild, and just the fortitude of that strength.
Well, that's one thing about Cameron Parish people. They willing to do something.
They are definitely,
Basically, you leave me alone, I'll get it done.
Right.
Also had one other cousin. She was, I believe, Oak Grove, somebody's house, and she drowned too.
Okay.
Got them while they were sleeping.
So they didn't even wake up.
No.
They basically.
No, they were.
Because Oak Grove is the
Closer.
southern part. Yeah, it's closer to the Gulf.
Yep.
And
Yep. The water hit them. They didn't have.
Yes.
I've heard stories that the last time they saw her, she was floating on a mattress. So.
Okay.
I don't know too much about how the bodies went, but I mean, I've seen documentaries, picking the bodies up. But I imagine after a few days, they probably couldn't identify anybody.
Right. Yes.
And because I mean, like my aunt and them, they were never identified. That's kind of tough. It's tough for my mama and them. I could tell, because I mean, you don't get closure.
Closure, exactly. Yes.
And not knowing where anybody. I mean, they just buried a mass grave somewhere. Because they got one in Creole, unknowns, and they got a big one somewhere in Lake Charlotte.
North of the airport.
Yeah.
Pre-Ann, I think, is the name of it. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that a few years ago that there was one there. So, how would you want to finish this? What did you learn? What was the biggest thing you took away from that experience?
Biggest thing is, if you know bad weather's coming, evacuate.
Yeah.
Get to a safer place. Now, one thing about it, like down there, a big thing was you can't drink enough water.
Yes.
You can't drink enough water to keep from drowning. But up here, I made the mistake of staying in Florida, and you don't want to hang around for the tornadoes either.
No.
Because I missed a tornado by about 100 yards. I got a trailer that was behind my house. It got picked up and thrown across the road. So that's how close the tornado coming. I had a house full of people.
Yes.
So that's not going to happen again.
And so,
It wouldn't have been so bad for Hurricane Audrey had people better weather reports. And that was the whole thing about it. Back in the Stone Age, and nobody ever seen this stuff. And but you see, after that, they had something coming to go. Everybody left. Now everybody, when they start talking hurricanes, people start moving north. And people that live in low-lying areas that know it's going to flood, they're going to get out of there too.
Yes.
Like I said, that's the biggest thing. Is that wind, you got a lot of danger, but water, I've heard stories of people got knocked down just by the water. It was knee deep, and those people did not survive, because of that. And another thing too is if you're on the east side of that hurricane, you're gonna get tornadoes. You don't want that either.
No. Is there anything else that you want to share at this point?
I can understand how my daddy felt because he had made the decision to stay, and then when the danger we were in, I didn't realize that I was nothing but a kid. Another day, it wasn't a day in paradise, but another day.
Yeah.
And he's worried, man, I got all these people, I'm gonna lose my wife, my kids, my nephews and that. And like I said, Laura was an experience for me. I had all the people here. And I made the dumb mistake, the dumb decision to stay. And they were gonna have to pay for the consequences of my decision. And that won't happen again because if I stay, nobody else is staying. It's my decision.
Yes.
And I got some neighbors that feel the same way, But anyhow, that's all I've got to say.
Okay.
Unless you got any more questions.
Thank you so much for this, and thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Mr. Ronnie Benoit, for sharing this. And DevDoc Theater, our YouTube channel, we have several stories. We will have his as well as many others to help everyone understand what it means to experience Hurricane Audrey. Thank you everyone for watching. Take care.